BCTV and WB&H thank our underwriters. Primary Bank, New Hampshire's bank for business, with branches in Bedford, Manchester, Nashua, and Derry. PrimaryBankNH.com. Delta Dental, providing easy access to quality dental coverage for every smile, from your younger years to your golden years, with the nation's largest provider network. The Wicks Insurance Group, serving New Hampshire and the Bedford community with auto, home, life, and business insurance since 1984. TheWicksInsuranceGroup.com. Interim Healthcare of Manchester, personalizing healthcare to meet your unique health needs. InterimHealthcare.com. Nelson Real Estate of New Hampshire, your local brokerage boutique. Relationships built on trust. MrsNelsonsNeighborhood.com. Murphy's Tap Room and Carriage House Event Center, where meals turn into moments and conversations last a little longer. Murphy'sTapRoom.com.
He can run things at the left side. Now Helton stings the top corner. Hodgson Rogers, she gets the edge, tries to split the defenders, does. Bounce shot is good.
Patrick kicks, deals, fastball swung on and missed.
Oh, big hit there from Page, and that's going to go over the wall.
Now Muir looks in the middle, finds Matagano, and she buries Spotty's up top as Green runs through all of them. Beautiful pass backside, and Kahn with another save.
Hey, welcome to SAU Field for the home opener of the Bedford Bulldogs. Game is underway against Memorial, and right off the bat, the hit batsman, Frank Tessier, the leadoff batter for the Crusaders, gets stung right there by James Gilbert, his first pitch. So Memorial already with a batter on base.
Harry, I wouldn't say that was off the bat. That was more off the backside than anything else. As we get started, just a moment late here, Tessier, the leadoff man. Mason Poitras to bat now. He's hitting second in left field. Pat Roy, the shortstop, batting third. Alex Rodriguez, the pitcher, batting cleanup. Ronnie Rivera, the first baseman, hitting fifth. Ryan Boylan, the second baseman, hitting sixth. Chris Rodriguez at third base, hitting seventh. Aaron Bodwin, the catcher, hitting eighth. And Will Sloper, the right fielder, is batting ninth. Gilbert gets a ground ball. That one to his second baseman. High hop over to second to top for one and on to first in time for a double play. The Bulldogs' keystone combination getting things started. It was Bufter feeding top and over to the sophomore first baseman, Ben Labonte. And with that, we can now set the infield, I suppose. Labonte at first, Bufter at second. David Elaine over at third, also a sophomore. Jason Toff, the shortstop. And the outfield, Will Smith in left, Connor Sturgis in center, Zach Papik, the senior, around and right. The battery, James Gilbert, and Nate Duquette, his catcher, is behind the plate.
Gilbert's pitch to Pat Roy was high, but it went off the bat. It's going to be a unintentional foul tip. So Roy finds himself behind 0-1.
We talked about this in the pregame, Harry. Memorial is a team that has traditionally had some struggles. 2 years ago, they won 2 games. Last year, they won 6. But they have a new coach in Nick Provencher, who is a Manchester kid through and through. And I say kid, he's younger than both of us by decades.
Swing and a miss right there by Roy. It's 1-2. Yeah, I was going to say that if you lined up Coach Provencher with his team, it would be hard to pick out the coach.
It's you're not wrong. He, though, comes back to Manchester as somebody, as the 1-2, or check that, the 2-1, taken for a strike over the outside corner, now 2-2. He comes to Manchester Memorial as a member of the Manchester Parks and Rec Department. He's coached at just about every level in town and has an undergrad degree from UNC Chapel Hill, but wanted to, in spite of the fact that he enjoys it down there, wanted to come back here and make his home in his home state.
Roy with the count full, 3-2. Payoff pitch on the way. And that was high, and Pat Roy takes the base on balls. So another base runner on for the Crusaders. Luckily for Gilbert, he had a base runner erased on a double play off the bat of Mason Poitras. Now the cleanup hitter, Alex Rodriguez, the pitcher.
Talked to James a little bit before the game, and one thing that he talked about that he has been working on quite a bit is that splitter. And it is, he misses down and away with a fastball, but The split can be attributed to why he was able to get that double play. It has that late downward break, so he got that ground ball off the bat of Poitras that got him 2 outs for 1.
Contact made there. This is going to get into the outfield just past the reach of Bufter. So runners on first and second. Base hit for Alex Rodriguez. And now Ronnie Rivera, first baseman.
And that not good contact necessarily by Rodriguez, but over the course of a season, things do even out a bit. That one, a seeing eye single on the right side. And pitching coach Adam Perkins out with a baseball for our plate umpire Greg Surrett as Nate Duquette and James Gilbert talk things over in front of the mound.
So no score, 2 outs. So ball to any base here will produce the third out, and we've got Ronnie Rivera up at the plate.
First baseman Labonte is playing behind Rodriguez, the base runner at first. But Nate Duquette has a strong arm, so you may see him throw behind the runner as that fastball from Gilbert right down the middle, strike 1, 0-1 on Rivera. For Bedford, the opener, and this a very short season. Another fastball from Gilbert, count 0-2, and he'll get it up north of 90 miles an hour. So he is one who a lot of the time could rely on that fastball, and maybe doing so here, as Rivera hasn't lifted the bat off his shoulder yet.
And now he steps out of the batter's box. Bulldogs are going to be busy this week. They'll be at Pinkerton Academy on the 15th and then hosting Exeter on the 17th.
Gilbert's 0-2. Late on it is Rivera, fouled off. Count holds on at 0-2. It is an interesting thing. The schedule is usually stacked early in the season for Bedford to be a bit tougher. And also, it is such a truncated season. It's about 6 weeks. You're trying to get 18 to 20 games in. It's a lot of action in a very short time. Rivera fouls it off again, stays alive, 0-2.
Yeah, you mentioned about having a tough go early on. Now, the Union Leader publishing their top 10 list in today's sports section, and the Bulldogs are going to be facing 8 of the 9 other teams on the list. I should mention that the Bulldogs are on the list. They come in at number 6.
0-2 from Gilbert is high. And looking at this team, and we haven't really gotten into it because we didn't have much of a pregame, but it is a somewhat senior-heavy team. You have James Gilbert on the mound, senior with experience. Zach Papik, a good arm. He's playing right field today, but he'll pitch. Brendan Lung, a junior. He's a pitcher, and that one, fastball over the outside corner, strike 3 called, and that will do it for Rivera. So Memorial gets a couple base runners, leaves a couple. We are through half an inning. It's Memorial 0, and Bedford is coming up.
And we'd like to take a moment to thank our underwriters who make sports broadcasting on BCTV possible, and they include Primary Bank, Northeast Delta Dental, the Wicks Insurance Group, Interim Healthcare of Manchester, Nelson Real Estate of New Hampshire, and Murphy's Tap Room and Carriage House Event Center. Thank you to those civic-minded businesses that make these broadcasts possible on BCTV.
It absolutely helps. And we appreciate their support as well as the future underwriters that we're going to wind up getting on the FM dial.
Yeah, we hope to have a few of those. In case you don't know, the radio station is going to be instituting an underwriting program as well. So hopefully if you're a business that would like to reach some of the 4,000 plus listeners that Bedford 105.1 gets every week according to the latest ratings, give us a jingle and we'll talk you through it. We'll tell you how to get on board.
The Bulldog lineup to start things off here in the bottom half of Game 1 of the 2026 season. Jason Toff will lead things off. He's the shortstop. James Gilbert, the pitcher, coming off a year where he hit .364, is batting second. Nate Duquette, the catcher, hitting third. Connor Sturgis in center field, batting fourth. The Trinity transfer. Jake Bufter at second base, hitting fifth. Zach Papik in right, batting sixth. Ben Labonte is the first baseman. He'll hit seventh. Evan Bruno, the DH, is hitting eighth. And Will Smith is the left fielder and batting ninth. And a look at the defense for these Manchester Memorial Crusaders. Ronnie Rivera at first base, Ryan Boylan at second, Chris Rodriguez at third, and Pat Roy is at shortstop, and an outfield left to right of Mason Poitras, Frank Tessier, and Will Sloper. The battery, Alex Rodriguez Jr., who's been the ace of this Memorial staff from the day that he stepped on the mound 2 years ago, and Aaron Bodwin is his battery mate behind the plate.
So Top will be leading off here for the Bulldogs, start the season on the offensive side. And Jason, 321 hitter last year, 18 hits, 16 of them were singles, 2 doubles, and he was walked 7 times.
Good batter at the top of the order, and of course the last guy to wear number 2 at the top of the order for the Bulldogs, Carter Crowley, who's now plying his trade down at Holy Cross. And Jason hoping to have opportunities to play at the next level, as well as Rodriguez continues what seems to be an infinite number of warm-up tosses.
And he's taking his time. You know, the weather today, it's a good day for baseball. I was going to stop short of saying beautiful because the skies look a little threatening. We had a little bit of a cloudburst earlier today, and there is a chance we might see a little sprinkle later on. But temperatures are very mild and almost no wind, so I will take it.
It is the flagpole out in left center field not showing anything, and the scoreboard in left center field not showing anything either.
No,
if
it's not
would
working.
Like to donate one of those,
we're going to have to pay
Billy
extra
Chapman's
attention.
number later in the game.
Yeah, is it down for the count, or is it?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't hear that it was, as the fastball from Rodriguez taken for a strike over the outside corner.
I just thought maybe it wasn't working today, so we're going to have to pay extra close attention here.
I will say that we had a transmitter for it as Top fouls it back into the woods. It's perhaps the budget is blown by the number of baseballs that the team goes through that you can't find that are hit into the woods. You need to station a couple fielders back there, keep a couple kids just to scavenge balls.
And spray them down with tick medicine.
Exactly. The 0-2, up high, curveball that just didn't get down, 1-2 now the count. But I do know that a couple years ago, the scoreboard, the controller, which I think came along with Alexander Cartwright in the original rules of the game, wasn't really working and would have cost a pretty penny to get a replacement. So who knows? Fastball down and away. Count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. We are, in case you're wondering, we're down the right field line, first base side. So we really have no idea about any defensive sets or shifts or anything like that. So kind of makes that a little bit of a challenge. We do know whether a pitch is high or low, and that one was high, and the count runs full.
Yeah, great view of
on
that.
The leadoff man Top.
Good crowd today, too. A lot of people turning out for the opener.
There are fireworks after the game, brought to you by Bill Jennings. Very courteous of him. Jason Top into the left center field gap, high and deep, and that one's going to be to the wall. Rounds first, heading for second, thinking about 3, but no, Billy Chapman's going to hold him right there. And Jason Toff, an electric first at-bat, sees 6 pitches, hits the last one of them into the right center field gap, 2-hop to the wall, and that an auspicious beginning for the Bulldogs and James Gilbert. He of a .451 on-base percentage last year will stride to the plate.
Gilbert, another strong hitter last year, 324, 23 hits, 17 singles, 4 doubles, a triple, and 1 homer.
Pitch down low, nice job by the catcher, Bodwin, to block it. He'll get it back to his pitcher, Rodriguez. James is heading to Elon in the fall to play baseball. Impressive on the mound, and that's really where they're looking at him, but he runs like a deer on the bases. Jason's lead is big, getting bird-dogged out there by Pat Roy. Secondary lead, takes it. Gilbert chops it down into the first base coach's box. Nice play by Adam Perkins, the pitching coach for Bedford. Perkins now in his 3rd year with the Bulldogs after serving as the head coach at Alvern. And led Alvern to the state finals back when he was a pitcher there in the early 2000s, and then went on to pitch at the University of Rhode Island.
Top chased back to second base after taking a big lead.
That one scorched by Gilbert into right field past the diving first baseman, up and throwing the right fielder. His throw to the plate will be late, and an RBI single for James Gilbert puts the Bulldogs on top 1-0. And the Bulldogs 2 hits and 2 at-bats, and now Nate Duquette wearing the number 1 jersey, which is usually designed for the smallest guy in the lineup, so it looks a little bit tight Nate's kind of wearing what looks like a youth large, and he's not a youth large.
Bedford off to a great start. No outs, up by a run. First two batters reach base. First batter reaches home.
James taking a big lead out there. He will take a couple steps back as the pitcher requests time. 1-0 Bulldogs here in the early going, just bottom of the first inning. Rodriguez checks him. Slider down and away, waved at and missed, and the count now 0-1 on Nate Duquette.
You were talking about coaches earlier. This is Coach Chapman's 15th year of leading these Bulldogs.
It's amazing he still looks as young as he does. Duquette hammers that one up the middle. Center fielder Tessier will pick it up, but loses it, and heading all the way to third base is Gilbert. He'll slide in safely, and the throw gets away from the third baseman Rodriguez. Gilbert will hold on there, but on the throw, Duquette will head into second base. So I'm going to say single and an error, and then another error on the throw. So the Bulldogs now have runners on second and third, and still nobody out, with Connor Sturgis, the senior, heading to the plate.
So the double E on Frank
I think you have to
Tessier.
give them both to Tessier. The throw that came in to the third baseman, Chris Rodriguez, not an easy one to handle. Fortunately, his teammate Alex was back there to pick it up. But that's only possibly a temporary respite for these Crusaders, trailing 1-0.
Now Connor Sturgis at the plate.
Sturgis, hands high. His swing and the fact that he's wearing number 3, or I was going to say the stance, and how he sets himself at the plate. Not to mention his build, jersey number, all that. Eerily reminiscent of Ryan Giuliano, who finished up here in 2022. That one in the dirt. Nice job by the catcher Bodwin to block it. And it is worth mentioning, there is more real estate here at this BHS field, if you have not seen a game here behind home plate, than just about any field that you're going to see. It's a good 50 feet from home plate
to
the backstop.
Any kind of wild pitch or pass ball is going to travel quite a ways.
It's a penalty, and if you get a heads-up base runner, we had it happen a few years ago in a game against Manchester Central. J.J. Crespo won the game coming in from second base on a wild pitch. Everybody's getting their Bedford High School baseball history lessons here. That one in the dirt. Nice job, Bodwin. Feel like we're going to keep saying that over and over again. He looks like the prototypical catcher back there.
And
stockily built, not afraid to block the ball.
Sturgis very heads up, signal to Gilbert to stay put.
Sturgis, a good ball player, great addition for the Bulldogs too. Billy Chapman excited to have him as part of the roster for his senior year. Played his first 3 seasons at Trinity, and he is a known commodity to the boys in this town.
3 balls on Sturgis.
We'll see if Billy Chapman green lights him. The Bulldogs on top 1-0. And sure enough, I don't know if Billy greenlit him, but he greenlit himself, and that's all that matters. Sturgis swinging out of his shoes, and the count 3-1. Duquette out there taking his lead away from second. Nobody anywhere near him.
Might be 3-2.
You may be right.
Ooh, tried to sell that to the ump.
Sturgis thought he saw ball 4, and our home plate umpire, Greg Surrett, ringing him up for out number 1.
So Bulldogs still with 2 runners in scoring position, second and third, 1 down. They lead 1-0. And a conference call there for the Crusaders at the plate.
And this is not something you want to see. It looks like Rodriguez had a little bit of discomfort. There's something that's up right now, because usually if the coach wants to come and talk to you, you'll have that conversation closer to the mound. Rodriguez made a beeline to that third base dugout, but doesn't look like he's in any discomfort. It just looked like something was kind of amiss as he talks to his catcher, Bodwin, who is out of Central Casting as a catcher. Looks like he was made to play that spot, and he's done quite well behind the plate so far, that's for sure. So now that'll bring up the sophomore, Jake Bufter. Jake, 1 for 5 last year in some limited time on the varsity roster. Brother Bo was the goalkeeper for the BG soccer team. He's a senior. Great player. Bufter hits it on a line, and the second baseman, Boylan, makes the catch and saves 1, maybe 2 runs. But if you're Bo Bufter, you got to feel pretty good, or Jake Bufter, I should say, you got to feel pretty good about the way things went on that first at-bat of the 2026 season. Now that'll bring up the senior, Zach Papik. Zach, a big arm for the Bulldogs on the mound, but out there in right field today, where he will see a good amount of time if he's not pitching, and he can certainly get it done with the bat. 278, a homer, 7 driven in last year. First pitch taken for a strike over the outside corner, 0-1.
Now this inning has taken a turn, Bulldogs look like they were in the driver's seat with a 1-0 run, no outs, 2 runners in scoring position. Now there's 2 down.
Papik, a big hack, and now he's in a hole, 0-2, and
be a shame to waste 2 runners.
Probability would say if you had guys on second and third and nobody out, you'll get a couple more home, but right now the Bulldogs trying to pick up that other one as Papik swings at a fastball up high and goes down looking. So Rodriguez got in trouble after the first 3, gave up hits the first 3 he saw, but the Bulldogs wind up stranding 2 after inning 1. It is Bedford 1 and Memorial 0. Welcome back to Bedford High Baseball Field. Lauren Fox alongside Harry Kozlowski. Game 1, inning 2. And yeah, we're still trying to figure out how this all works. You're probably watching this game on replay at this point, so I guess that'll take a little bit of pressure off of us. If we say anything really wrong, they'll just edit it out, right, Andrew? Bulldogs on top, 1-0. Fastball, James Gilbert taken for a strike, count 0-1 on Ryan Boylan. Thank you, sir. Mike Papik, father of Zach Papik, wanted the lineup, and so gave him what he needed. He gave it right back as Boylan swings and misses in a hole, 0-2. I will say, though, broadcasting baseball is truly like riding a bike. And Gilbert, slider outside corner, looked at, and that's going to do it for Boylan. Out number 1 as James Gilbert has hung up backwards Ks to the last 2 Crusader batters. And that will bring up Chris Rodriguez, the third baseman for Manchester Memorial. This Memorial team, a lot of new faces. Swung on and missed, fastball, 0-1. And Nick Preventure seems to think, though, that he's going to be able to fill out a varsity and JV roster for the foreseeable future, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And I would say, from having talked to him, and you talked to him as well pregame, he has been very involved in Manchester Little League, coached many of these kids growing up, has a relationship with them, and has also coached Pony, Colt, Legion Ball. So he knows where the talent is in the town and has that relationship that if a kid's on the fence about coming out to play, he can say to him, hey, come on, suit up. We need you. And so he's done a good job of recruiting, and if he can keep that up, he can build a program. There certainly is talent in Manchester.
Yeah, very good story on Coach Preventure in the Union Leader today.
That was the only one before I hit the paywall that I could read.
Got a copy of it right here if you'd like.
I read it. I took notes. That one, fastball over the outside corner, strike 3 called. Gilbert, 3 backwards Ks in a row. And 2 down, nobody on here in the top of inning number 2 with the Bulldogs leading 1-0.
Gilbert very efficient today. Had a little control issue early on. He walked one. He hit the leadoff batter, but since then he's been rock solid.
You and I saw him last year in a game, I think against Salem, that the Bulldogs really struggled in, and James, as Aaron Bodwin swings and misses, now he's in a hole here, 0-2, but James really struggled to locate in that game. In this game, he is really hitting his spots. Fastball upstairs, Bodwin lets it go by count 1-2. And gets the sign from his catcher, Duquette. Shakes his head no. Now he's ready to roll. The fastball 1-2 misses away. The pitch comm in high school baseball is one-way communication. Fastball fouled off by Bodwin into the woods. It is one-way communication between the coach and the catcher. There is no back and forth. It is the coach calling something, and what you saw just then was James Gilbert shaking. If he didn't like it, he winds up shaking the coach off, not the catcher. The 2-2, little slider misses down, and Bodwin showing some pretty good restraint on that one.
Count is up to 3-2 now. 2 down.
Yep. Gilbert with his 4th backwards K in a row. That'll do things for the Crusaders here in the top of the second. 3 up, 3 down, all backwards Ks, and James Gilbert now has 4 in the game. We're through an inning and a half. It's Bedford 1 and Memorial 0.
You can take Bedford 105.1 anywhere you go. Just download the WB&H mobile app on Android, iOS, or Apple iOS or Android Play Store, and listen to Bedford 105.1's community radio station anytime, anywhere, whether you're at home, work, or on the road. Your favorite music, local programming, always just tap away. Search Bedford 1051 in the App Store or Google Play and start listening today. Just got that app worked out.
That's good. I know that's been a labor of love for you for a few months.
I wouldn't say it's a labor of love.
It's just a labor, yes.
We were talking earlier about the UL Top 10, Bedford opening up the season ranked number 6. Here's the complete Top 10. It's Exeter, Trinity at 2, Londonderry 3, PA at 4, Winnicott 5. That's the team that beat Bedford last year in the playoffs. Bedford, of course, 6, 7, Hanover, 8, Concord, Wyndham, number 9, and BG, number 10. Wyndham is the only team that the Bulldogs will not be facing in the regular season. They have Pinkerton Academy coming up on the 15th, just 2 days from today on Wednesday. Then on Friday, Exeter comes here, so they'll be facing the number 1 team on Friday. So
Exeter's always tough. They always seem to have pitching, and they always seem to have depth at the skill position. So it's, for the Bulldogs, it's an early test. We've seen Exeter later in the season in the past. This one, it's early. And what will typically happen with the way the schedule works, and I haven't looked at this year's schedule, is you have some of these tougher games early on, and you really kind of take your licks. And then later on in the season, you're able to kind of hit a little bit of stride and play for seeding a bit. But the early season ones are the ones that really kick you in the teeth. And with 3 of the top 4 by the end of the month of April, that is really a tall order. 4 of the top 8 at that point. So it's really a challenge. But if you can steal a game or 2 out of those, can make a big difference. It's just a big if. So for the Bulldogs, 7-8-9 coming up. Ben Labonte, Evan Bruno, Will Smith. Labonte, the sophomore first baseman, lefty batter. And it's always interesting, whether you're watching high school or college, to look at the maturity level. Somebody who's a sophomore and hasn't spent quite as much time in their weight room versus somebody who's a senior and has that couple years of maturity. But Labonte, a tall drink of water over there at first base, and of course he's left-handed. That certainly qualifies him to play over there. That one ripped on a line. The center fielder, Tessier, came in. It's over his head all the way to the wall. Labonte heading into second. He will try for third. They are sending him. The throw into third, not in time. And Ben Labonte with his second varsity hit, first one in 26. It is a triple, and the Bulldogs trying to add to that 1-0 lead.
Aggressive base running there by Labonte. He had a head of steam. And Tessier, he's not having a very good day today. 2 errors in the first inning And that time he misjudged the depth of that hit, and he got caught, ball over his head, had to chase it all the way down to the wall.
That is the hardest ball hit at you if you're playing center field, though, not to mention a lefty, and it was a little bit left to center. That ball that's hit has that sort of tail away, and your first instinct is to go in, but they always tell you first step is back. He broke in, and then, like deer in the headlights, had to chase it all the way to the wall. And
yeah, it was kind of low. It had that low line drive look when it left the bat.
Evan Bruno, a big hack.
So he's down now 0-2.
He's down 0-2. And Bruno is one of 4 Bedford players to win 4 state championships. I think I got that right. Taking strike 3 called over the outside corner. Bruno, Jason Topf, Brendan Lung, 3 of the 4. And I'm blanking on the 4th one that I got told before the game. It'll come to me eventually.
So the bottom of the order now, Will Smith comes up to bat. And Smith last year, 258 hitter with 8 hits. Now
that one gets away from the catcher, Bodwin, and a great read there by Ben Labonte coming in to get home on a ball that barely left the dirt. Labonte blocked it, or check that, Bodwin blocked it, but really wasn't quite sure where it was.
Pass ball?
That's a wild pitch. It hit the dirt. So he scores on the wild pitch, and that'll give the Bulldogs a 2-0 lead. Will Smith showed a keen eye at the plate last year. He hit 258, but his on-base percentage 477. He walked 12 times. That was 3rd on the team.
Does Smith earn an RBI there?
He does not.
Okay.
So now he's batting with the bases empty. The number 9 batter, Jason Topf, the leadoff man, is in the on-deck circle. And Will Smith, one who runs well, his brother Bowden, played corner outfield, pitched a bit. And Smith hits that one right off the end of the bat. The third baseman, Chris Rodriguez, will come in a couple steps. That one a line drive by definition, but not hit terribly hard. And that out number 2 here in the bottom of the 2nd. But Bowden is now pitching at Plymouth State as one of the members of those classes 23 and 24, where you have almost 10 of them who are still playing baseball or softball in college.
Top at the bat, leadoff hitter, number 1 hitter in the lineup, and he had a double in his first at-bat.
Smoked it to the left center field gap. This time watches the slider down and away. The count 2-0, and it's a pure hitter's count for Jason.
Yeah, Rodriguez is not wanting to give him anything in a hittable zone.
Doesn't look that way, does it? Tried the slider again, missed again, and the count 3-0 on Jason Topf. The Bulldogs lead it here 2-0. Bottom 2. Rodriguez kicks and deals. Fastball taken for a strike, 3-1 now. Rodriguez has struck out 3 Bulldogs to this point. He has allowed 4 hits. And James Gilbert on the other side of the ledger has struck out 4 Crusaders. The 3-1 slider tried again, and he couldn't nick the outside corner, and a 2-out walk for Jason Topf will bring up James Gilbert. James, hard hit ball to center field his first time, and that, forgot about the wind here.
The wind
that
shows
one's
up.
Blowing out a little bit too.
Yeah, we didn't have any wind up until
so
now.
If you parked your car out in right field, you may want to cover that thing up. It's now blowing out to right center.
And Rodriguez throwing the first, trying to keep Top honest. Ronnie Rivera at first makes the catch. Top back in time.
Rodriguez sets and checks. Gilbert swings and misses. Looking fastball, got a changeup. And the count 0-1 on James.
Forgot our microphone screens today.
The wind is swirling. We had no wind when we started this game. But it is New Hampshire.
Top chased back to first.
Forget about all these easy sports where you're watching in a press box or the gym. This one a little bit more challenging. Hard hit Second baseman going to his left, or to his right, I should say, tried for the backhand, couldn't come up with it. And safe at first. I'll say base hit on that one. It's not ordinary effort for second baseman to go 4 or 5 steps to his right to make that backhand play. So Gilbert winds up with an infield single, the second hit of the game.
Boylan, the second baseman for Memorial, having a tough time with that one. But, yeah, like you said, Gilbert back-to-back singles, and now he's got Nate Duquette up to the
And Nate's
plate.
a big threat there.
Bulldogs at first and second, 2-0's the score. Bedford leads here in the bottom of the second.
Nate singled to center his first time up, and that thing ate up Frank Tessier, who the error wound up allowing James Gilbert to go to third and wound up getting Duquette to second. That one skied to center, and Tessier watches it come out of the sky. Can of corn. And that will be out number 3 here in the bottom of the second. But the Bulldogs wind up getting one across by way of 2 hits and Strand 2. We are through 2, Bedford 2, and Memorial nothing. Welcome back for the top of the third. Bedford on top of Memorial by a score of 2-0. For Memorial, it'll be 9-1-2. Sloper, Tessier, and Poitras. Sloper batting for the first time today. Fouls it off. Left side out of play. And the count 0-1 on Will Sloper. Sloper, the right fielder for this Memorial team, a junior. And that's about the extent of the information that I have on Will Sloper, batting from the left side, but you can see that because this game's on TV and you're watching. Fastball from Gilbert, taken outside in the count. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sloper. The Memorial dugout getting loud, and I like to see that.
Apparently its nickname is Slopey.
Creative. I mean, baseball nicknames go one of 2 ways. Either they're very creative, oftentimes bridging on vulgar, as that pitch misses high, 3-1, or they're as basic as they get. Chop off the last 2 letters, add a Y, and we'll just send you out the door.
Yeah, it's like hockey nicknames, too.
Yep. And Gilbert misses with a fastball away, and Sloper will draw a leadoff walk. So not something you really want to do. We'll end up walking the leadoff man Sloper, and that'll flip the order again. Tessier will come to bat. And he is still awaiting his first official at-bat of the season.
He was
Took a pitch from Gilbert right off his backside, his first at-bat.
Then finished in a double play. And that one is...
That one fouled off right side.
Ooh.
Bounces over a car.
Almost got that car,
It almost got several cars, but...
Hopefully mine is further, far enough to the right. Let's just say it was in the same area code.
Labonte holding him on at first base, and from what I've seen of young Ben Labonte at first, who is a sophomore manning that important spot, and there have been a lot of good first basemen over the years for Bedford, whether it's Austin Bequeth, Ryan O'Connor, number of them. That pitch misses low, 1-1. Jared Neekum, but a lot of good power hitting first basemen. But from Labonte, watching him in warm-ups, he is certainly comfortable and able with that glove. Now one taken for a strike by Tessier, who thought he was going to see something that bent, and instead it was a fastball over the inside corner, and now he's in a hole 1-2. So he is one that the infield can be comfortable with. He's tall, rangy, and he looks like he can sure pick it. Fastball misses in, 2 balls, 2 strikes, as Tessier bends his back away from the offering of James Gilbert.
Nate Duquette had something to say to the umpire there.
Yeah, I don't think that was Nate's doing. I kind of got the sense as that fastball misses down and away, and Tessier draws a walk, and Duquette springs out of his crouch to go talk to James Gilbert. You kind of got the sense on that one that Billy Chapman, and you'll hear this a decent amount, where a coach will say to the catcher, hey, where was that? So Nate asked our home plate umpire, Greg Surratt, where it was, and that almost a reinforcement of what is the zone today, or where did that miss different from other pitches that might have been on, or the sales job that Tessier might have given on it. But regardless, the Crusaders now have runners on first and second, nobody out, top of the third. They're chasing two, the Bulldogs on top 2-0.
And now Mason Poitras, who hit into a double play, 4-6-3 in the first.
That one skied up and over our heads, and Harry Kozlowski's car is safe. Somebody else's might have gotten hit.
That one got closer, that's for sure. Thought it was safe there.
Now the strategic thing that you might be wondering here, they're chasing two. They have two guys on, nobody out, maybe lay one down. But Nick Preventra has not pushed that button yet. And if we're getting the count wrong at any point in time, well, we certainly apologize for that. That will happen without a scoreboard in left center.
It is 1-1 right now.
So you tell me. 1-1, fastball inside corner. The count now 1-2. Poitras, the batter, did not care for that call. His teammate Tessier, I think he thought had gotten the benefit of those being a ball, and he thought he was going to get the same treatment.
Trying to go for an Oscar here, a couple of the way he brushed back.
The 1-2 swung on and missed, and down goes Poitras for out number one here in the top of the third inning.
So that's number 5 for Gilbert. Mowed everybody down the last inning on K's, picking up his first one here, but he's got one down here with 2 runners on.
Gilbert's fastball misses just a hair in, 1-0 on Pat Roy. It is a famous 3-4 combination. We have Patrick Roy, not to be confused with Patrick Waugh, followed by Alex Rodriguez, both champions in their own right. And then on the Bedford side of the ledger, I guess you have Will Smith out there in left field. So a lot of famous names on this field is
the Fresh Prince of Bedford.
The Fresh Prince of Bedford, absolutely. I used to work with a guy named Will Smith who, at one point when he was out on the town, met a woman named Jada. They got married.
As
it should be.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those things you figure that is in the stars.
That's fate.
Yep.
So Roy had a step back for real that time. Count as 1-2. Or, sorry, 2-1.
Roy walked, got to second his first time up. Now he'll step out of the batter's box, take a hack. James Gilbert, not an easy first assignment for these Crusaders. You might have seen some things in batting practice. You've not seen 90 miles an hour, that much is sure. Down low. And the count 3-1 on Roy. No action down in the Bedford bullpen, which is right in front of us. The shortstop, Topf, keeping Sloper honest at second. Now the 3-1. Roy taking a big hack. Comes up empty, and the count runs full on Pat Roy.
I think he might have made contact with that, but either way, it is a strike. Might have nicked it just a hair.
I was going to say, it might have been just enough that it got a piece of Nate Duquette also, because our home plate umpire walking the ball out to James Gilbert, which is typically what you see when you're giving the catcher a courtesy break, in much the same way the catcher will do the same for the umpire. So the count full on Roy. Gilbert deals, payoff pitch, taking ball 4, and the bags are full of Crusaders, all there by way of a free pass with one out here in the top of the second, or top of the third, I should say.
Sloper on third, Tessier at second, and Roy takes his spot on first. And now it's up to number 12, Mr. Rodriguez. Hit a single his last time up.
Rodriguez looks at the first one, 0-1. And my question would be now, did we jinx James Gilbert? Possibly.
One down, but
the broadcaster jinx.
Bases are full. Now there's a foul back by Rodriguez, and he's behind 0-2 here.
Rodriguez down on the count, and James Gilbert could sure use a strikeout here. We'll see if he comes to Rodriguez or if he tries to get him to chase. Gilbert surrounded by Crusaders, misses up high with a slider. And that probably more of a chase pitch than anything else.
Yeah, floated a butterfly out at him.
Rodriguez waiting in the batter's box is granted time. One-two slider taken for a ball. Rodriguez lets it go. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The movement on that pitch is nice, but if you can see it coming or you have an idea, and the Crusaders have done a good job laying off it their last few at-bats.
Count is even, 2-2.
2-2 misses in. Rodriguez spins out of the way. I don't know that it was all that close, but who am I to judge? I'm not in the batter's box facing 90.
Now, they've been selling it today.
So payoff pitch coming up. Count full. Gilbert in a jam of his own doing. He's walked all 3 that he's seen. Here in the top of the 3rd. And I'll correct myself, he did get an out, so there's 1 out. That one hit on a line to the second baseman. Buffer feeds top at second base, and that's going to be a 4-6 double play that will end things here in the top of the 3rd. So Gilbert was in trouble and just as quickly is out of trouble, and Rodriguez now has to take the mound again. Hit that thing on a line, but the runner on second, Tessier, had gone too far off, and he is doubled off. We're through 2.5. It's Bedford 2 and Manchester Memorial nothing.
Our next baseball broadcast on BCTV coming up on the 27th of April, Monday, just 2 weeks from today. It will be the Concord Crimson Tide coming in, and that first pitch will come at 4:30. However, our next broadcast is Friday. The girls lacrosse, that'll be their home opener at Bedford High Stadium against the Londonderry Lancers, a 5:30 face-off for that, both on BCTV, your station for Bulldog Sports. And while we're talking about that, let's give a thank you to our underwriters. They include Primary Bank, Northeast Delta Dental, the Wicks Insurance Group, Interim Healthcare of Manchester, Nelson Real Estate of New Hampshire, and Murphy's Tap Room and Carriage House Event Center. Thank you to our local businesses that think enough to bring these broadcasts to you here on BCTV.
Rodriguez taking his time getting back out to the mound, and of course there's not a whole lot that can happen until the pitcher gets out there, so we'll have an inordinately long inning break here.
So
you guys have a full slate though on BCTV. Between lacrosse, softball, everything, it's going to be a busy.
Yeah, while you brought it up, yeah, softball coming up on the 21st. That's
right.
a Tuesday. We'll be at Slavosky Field for that, 4 p.m. first pitch. And the boys' first game on TV will be the 22nd against the Manchester Kings. That's the combined Manchester program.
Okay. Which schools is that? I'm not keeping up.
Might be all 3.
Okay.
I know for
is all
hockey,
3?
For hockey, it's all 3.
So West Central and Memorial have combined, and they're the Kings,
and
which I kind of like.
Yeah. No, that's their they debuted that identity on the hockey program, the Manchester Kings, and they put together a pretty good team, pretty competitive squad with the combined talents of all 3 schools.
Well, particularly with a sport like hockey, it can be tough because it's not an inexpensive sport to play.
No, and part of the problem is that you've got competing programs. You have travel programs, and even prep schools are out there recruiting players. So a lot of talent gets vacuumed up that way.
And I understand players certainly wanting to take whatever opportunity they can to play at the next level, but that has been a long challenge, and it's certainly a challenge with hockey on both sides, boys and girls, as Connor Sturgis squares to bunt. And it's a curveball from Rodriguez, high and tight, pulls back, gets hit right on his number 3 on the back, and Sturgis will lead things off with a painful free pass to start things off here in the bottom of the third. So Sturgis on base, and now Jake Bufter, who lined out to the second baseman Boylan his first time up, will come to bat. Sturgis, big lead over there at first. Rodriguez throws over. Back in time, barely is Sturgis.
Yeah, Sturgis had a hustle to get back to the plate there.
He's taken an ambitious lead, that's for sure. See if he's got larceny on his mind. Rodriguez checks. Sturgis fakes, not going. And the pitch down and away, 1-0 on Jake Bufter. Jake, the sophomore at second base for the Bulldogs. There are quite a few talented sophomores on this Bedford roster as Bufter hits a 2-hopper, gobbled up by the third baseman Rodriguez.
Off the bag.
Over to first. Not in time. The throw pulled Rivera off the base, and Rivera and Bufter had a collision at first. Bufter is now clearing the cobwebs out, shaking his head a little bit, and he's covered with dirt. We'll see how he's doing. Adam Perkins will check on him for a second. But
so how do we score that? Is it going to be an error?
That's going to be an E5. That's a what I would expect to be a pretty standard play, and a heads-up play by Sturgis on it, off on contact, getting all the way over to third base.
Was that the third baseman Rodriguez that?
That was Rodriguez.
Okay, so
Preventure went out to try to get the umpires together on it. I don't know that. So there it goes. My thought from where we were standing was that Bufter got hit with a tag on his back before he got to the bag. Our first base umpire initially ruled safe. The two umpires got together on it, and I don't know that Greg Surratt saw anything different, or if our base umpire replayed it in his mind and realized that he missed the call the first time. But regardless, 5-3, and still, though, heading all the way to third base alertly is Connor Sturgis.
Now Zach Papik at the plate. He just takes ball 1 right there, low. Yeah, I was going to say that it went from being first and third. They reversed the call at first, but at least we have Connor Sturgis at third with no outs, or one out, sorry.
So that'll bring up the senior Zach Papik, who, when I say things like that and realize how old some of these kids are getting, I guess that means that we're getting older too.
Time flies. It's 1-1 now, by the way.
It is 1-1 on Papik. Struck out swinging his first time up. Swings and misses, and now he's in a hole here, 1-2. You want Papik to do a job here if you're Billy Chapman. You just want him to find a way to get that run home. Pitch down and away. Nice job by the catcher, Bodwin, diving to his right to stop that one from getting away.
Yeah, I mean, he did let a wild pitch get away from him in the second. That's how the second Bedford run was scored. And I'm sure Sturgis is aware of that fact. Ooh, that's
Papik
nice.
hits that one high in the air to center fielder. Tessier going back, drifting back all the way to the wall. Can't get it. And it will go off the tip of his glove. Papik wisely will hold up at second base after a double that almost carried out of the ballpark. And that'll score Connor Sturgis, make it 3-0 Bedford.
Now, is that an error?
No, that's a hit. He never camped underneath it. He drifted with it a bit, but the wind is certainly a factor on that one.
So Sturgis comes home. He is the third Bedford run, and a conference call here for the Crusaders. Might be it for Rodriguez.
The other thing to note, too, if you're Tessier on that play, we saw his numbers the whole time. If he turns around to make the play, right, then you might say, all right, that was an error because he camped, but he never camped on the ball. He just kept drifting with it, and it kept going. And also, when you're playing in somebody else's ballpark, you don't know where the fence is. You've looked at it before the play, but when you're watching it and you really trying to get a sense of where you are, that's a really tough play for him out there in center field. And it is a vast center field in this ballpark.
I mean, the result is the same. If he had made the catch, it would have been an easy sacrifice.
Absolutely.
For Sturgis to come in.
You just wouldn't have the guy on second.
Right. It gave up a base runner and an out here. So now we got number 12, Labonte, who scored on a wild pitch last inning. Hit a triple.
Labonte boldly tripled. We thought he was going to wind up at second base on it. Instead, he went all the way to third. This time, rips it to the second baseman, Boylan, who has it go off his glove. Somehow gloves it barehanded, throws over to first to Rivera in time, but over to third base, Papik on the bobble. And Labonte's hit 2 on the screws. That one he has nothing to show for, but certainly promising out there for the sophomore first baseman.
DH, Evan Bruno, he struck out in the second.
Bruno, a big bat, hits the ball hard. And last year, 3 for 14 for the Bulldogs. Upstairs, 1-1 on the junior DH.
Bedford,
Will Smith standing in the on-deck circle for Bedford.
Bedford picking up a run in every inning so far. We're in the bottom of the third. 3-0's your score with 2 outs.
They'd like to find a way to get Papik home. Pitch down and away, 2-1 on Bruno.
They did strand 2 in the first. Runners at second and third. They don't want to strand another third base runner here.
Off the end of the bat from Bruno. Rodriguez scampers off the mound. Pounces on it. Over to first in time to get him. So Bruno down 1-3 for out number 3 in the bottom of the third. But the Bulldogs get a leadoff man hit by pitch. He winds up coming around to score on a double. And through 3, it is Bedford 3, Memorial nothing. Back for the top of the 4th on BCTV. Welcome back for the top of the 4th inning. Bedford on top of Memorial 3-0. And a first pitch from James Gilbert to Ronnie Rivera. Misses, count 1-0 on the first baseman for Memorial. Chopper, right side. Bufter, double clutches over to first in time for out number 1 here in the top of the 4th. That one a bit unusual for James Gilbert. It was one of the few times in this game that he's gotten anybody out by way of anything except a strikeout or a double play, I suppose. And then the other thing was it was a relatively quick at-bat. Fastball, strike 1 to the second baseman, Ryan Boylan, who went down looking his first time up.
Oh, that
has 5 victims, Boylan one of them.
That was his third field out. Got the double play in the first. 4-6 play in the second, or in the third, I should say. And then that one in the 4th.
Little action down in the Bulldog bullpen. Carter Stewart, as that one's fouled off by Boylan in a hole 0-2. Assume early in the season that James Gilbert is not going to have a terribly long leash. The 0-2, that one chopped left side. Charging the third baseman, not in time. Great effort by David Elaine to come in, barehand the ball, throw over to Labonte at first, but there wasn't a whole lot of chance to get Boylan on that one, and it'll be an infield single for him with 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Now we'll bring up the Memorial third baseman, Chris Rodriguez, who also went down looking his first time up. Big lead for Boylan over at first. Gilbert mindful of it. And they almost got him. Some score updates. Girls varsity softball won 5-1 over Memorial. Dover and JV won 12-2. Now won a sky-high pop-up right side behind home plate. And Nate Duquette is going to kick himself for that one. There's a lot of real estate back there, so he certainly had an opportunity to come up with it, but off his glove, and
he tried to kind of breadbasket in front of him instead of getting under the.
That is probably the hardest play in baseball, one of them, made even more difficult by the fact that you really can't practice it, or it's difficult to practice. As good as Billy Chapman may be at hitting those pop-ups. Runner going, throw down to second, not in time. Boylan slides in safely. And that one will be on the pitcher, Gilbert, who was a little bit slow going home. And that's something that the Bulldogs will work on cleaning up. As good as Duquette's arm is, he didn't really have much of a chance to throw Boylan out. Fastball taken for a strike there, and the count 1-2 on Rodriguez.
Three nothing is the score. Bedford up here in the top of the fourth, and they've had runners in scoring position able to get out of the jams earlier.
Pitch missed inside, so the count now 2-2 on Rodriguez. We look at Jason Topf out there at shortstop. He is playing shortstop today for the Bulldogs. Played second base last year. Of course, Carter Crowley was out there at short last year, so it's like they traded jerseys as well as positions. That one misses, so the count runs full on the number 7 batter, Rodriguez, with one out here in the top of the fourth. His sister Lucy playing shortstop as well for Memorial.
Here's a rundown.
And Boylan broke off the bat. Gilbert chasing him, and instead Gilbert's just going to tag him as he heads back into second base. So it's a caught stealing, one unassisted. I don't know that I've seen that really ever, but so Boylan out, and now Gilbert, after getting a little sprint toward the runner, will attempt to do away with Chris Rodriguez, and Rodriguez calls for time. Gilbert enjoys the opportunity to take a breath.
Yeah, Boylan got a little giddy there after stealing second. Thought he could do it again. Got caught in the rundown. There's a hit pitch, or hit batter, I should say, with Rodriguez taking first. So another base runner here for the Crusaders.
So
But
Rodriguez
two out
at first with 2 outs. Coach Nick Provencher must have seen something that he liked with Boylan, and also must have picked something up in the delivery of Gilbert to have Boylan decide to go, or perhaps he had greenlit him. Fastball taken away, 1-1 on the number 8 batter for Memorial, the catcher Bodwin. Bodwin struck out looking his first time up on a 3-2 pitch. This time, skies one in the air to center field. Coming in with a full head of steam, Connor Sturgis, and he will make the play on that fly ball for out number 3 here in the top of the fourth. Memorial gets a couple base runners. They wind up stranding one, and we are through 3.5. It's Bedford 3 and Memorial nothing.
BCTV's live channels and on-demand content are easier to access than ever before thanks to the Bedford Community Television app, available for free download on Apple iOS and Android Play stores. Download the Bedford Community Television app from your app store today. Enjoy BCTV programming anywhere you go. All you need is a Wi-Fi signal or some mobile data, and you're in business. Skies are starting to brighten a little bit. I see a little bit of blue poking through. Yeah, in fact, behind us, you might actually get to see the sun peek out here. Had a threat of rain that came before the game. Nothing so far. Knock on plastic.
Right. It was about at 3 o'clock. I was doing some work at home, and all of a sudden I heard
the tippy-tap of raindrops.
Opening day. Like on opening day, you start getting rain at 3 in the afternoon?
Yeah, me and Andrew were sitting in our cars waiting for that shower to pass today.
And I'm grateful that it did kind of wet the field down a little bit. It is not that the NHIAA would ever consider it, but we've had conversations about whether in the Northeast baseball should be a fall sport. Now, of course, you lose anybody who plays soccer, anybody who plays football.
True.
Or you might, I should say. But
Well, what if they push the season back 2 weeks and start mid? Well, it is mid. I guess push it to the end of April.
It is such a truncated season, though, and trying to get all of these games in so fast.
Playoffs would impinge on graduation.
Well, the way that it works now is, a lot of the time for Bedford, if you wind up in the playoffs, you have graduating seniors who are playing in baseball games on graduation day. And there have been years that you look at it and you say, well, it'd be quite a memory to go from graduation to a high school state championship game, but you don't necessarily want to have to do that. Other parts of the country where weather's warm, you're done with the season mid-May at the latest. Will Smith swings and misses at a fastball upstairs, count 1-1.
Smith flied out to third base. His last at-bat, second.
This time hits one high in the air to the right center field gap. Tessier, long way to go, still going.
He got it.
And gets underneath it. Great play by Frank Tessier. He's had a tough go of it out there, but that one, a solid running catch in a big part of the ballpark for out number one here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Redeeming play there for Tessier, who's been picked on all day.
And, of course, here in New Hampshire, you have some unique fields to contend with. You have Gill Stadium, which has a vast center field to go along with turf, can make things very challenging.
Not to mention a foul area that never ends.
Right, never-ending foul area, and then a goal post in there for good measure. Upstairs, misses as Jason Toff comes to bat. He's 1 for 1 in the game, doubled his first time up, walked back in the second. Scored a run, bless you, scored a run in the first inning, the first run of the season for the Bulldogs.
Gill Stadium was the temporary home of the New Hampshire Fisher Cats for their first year.
Yep.
2004. I'm sure those players must have really thought something of those foul areas.
Top hits that one in the air down the right field line. Sloper will dive, can't come up with it. It gets past him down into the corner. Top is rounding second, thinking about third, and he will get there standing up with a one-out triple. And the Bulldogs once again have a man on third base, leading 3-0. The award winner for the weirdest field in the league, though, is Merrimack, where you look out in center field and you have a school building. You have a tree that's out there, and if a ball hits the tree, it's a home run. You have a sprinkler that is ruled out of play. You have left field, though, which is 600 feet to the left. You're not getting one out to left field. I don't care who you are. Aaron Judge wouldn't. Gilbert late on it. Hits it past Billy Chapman in the third base coach's box, and they count 0-1 on the senior pitcher, James Gilbert. Timberlane has a very short left field. Alvern has a fence that's maybe 280 all the way around.
That pitch is outside. As weird as it was playing a professional season at Gill, good memories, though, because the Fisher Cats won the Eastern League title in their debut year here in Manchester.
It's always a good way to get some free PR if you can find a way to do that.
They had a banner to fly at the new stadium, Northeast Delta Dental.
And I'm not going to say that major league teams, particularly ones that might be out of contention, don't do things. I'm not saying send major league guys down, but leave talent in a market, particularly a new market, to kind of drum up interest organically.
Gilbert fouled that one off. He's got 2 strikes. Pitch outside. I believe the count is full.
The flag is kind of blowing idly out there, but it feels like we're walking down Main Street in Dodge City with all this wind.
It's attacking our notes that we were enjoying here.
Thank you.
Another foul high into the trees, so count remains 3-2 to Gilbert.
Gilbert getting his money's worth.
Yeah, the Fisher Cats were actually on quite a good pattern. They were winning an Eastern League title every 7 years. They broke that. And a drop third pitch. Gilbert goes to first, and the catcher, Bodwin, didn't know what to do.
Hey.
A little indecision there. He was standing there with Top heading for home, and he decides to make the throw to first. Not the best decision. He made the throw late, and that is a error that gives up another run. It's 4-0 Bedford.
And it is 4-0 for the Bulldogs. But on that one, if you're Bodwin and the ball gets away from you like that, which it did, and the pitcher, Rodriguez, wasn't terribly quick to cover, for Bodwin, you just need to make a decision and eat that one. Cut your losses, leave first and third. Bodwin's done a good job back behind the plate. And for Nick Preventure, I have a feeling from talking to him before the game, he's looking at that play as something that his team can build from and work on. And let's face it, for Memorial, this was going to be a really tough game to win. This is not a game that you have too much of a shot. Gilbert goes to steal second. We already said he runs like a deer out there, sure enough. Swipes second base, so he's on second with one out here in the bottom of the fourth.
So how do you score that? It was a K, but how's that? How do you score that?
It's still a strikeout. It still goes as a strikeout for the pitcher, but he winds up. I didn't get a good enough look at it to say whether it was a wild pitch or a pass ball. I wasn't sure if it hit the dirt or not, but regardless.
Let's just call it. Yeah, I think it did hit the dirt, so let's call it a wild pitch.
So if it's a wild pitch, it's a wild pitch, and then Top winds up scoring on the same pitch. He doesn't get credit for a stolen base.
So Duquette at the plate now. Swing and a miss.
Duquette hit one high in the air to center field his last time up. Tessier came in on it, sky-high ball. Nate's first time up, he singled the center. Got to second base on an error by the center fielder, Tessier. Gilbert being kept honest by the second baseman, Boylan. That one in the dirt. Nice job, Bodwin, going over to block it. But if you're Nick Preventure, really what you're trying to do at this point is say, all right, that's what happened. How can we do that differently going forward? And the short answer is you just don't make the throw. You just let the runner go to first. Figure that he's going to wind up taking second anyway later in the at-bat, but at least now you have second and third, and that runner's still on third base. It is not an optimal situation, but you got to use it as a teaching moment.
Pitch outside, another ball. I think the count is
your guess is as good as mine.
We're a little hard to keep track here. The scoreboard's not working, and we're just guessing here.
You think it'd be easy? Duquette, big swing and miss. Well, one thing I do know is that's strike three.
All right. There you go.
So out number 2 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Bulldogs leading 4-0 though. And Connor Sturgis, who struck out looking his first time up, was hit by a pitch, came around to score on Zach Papik's double. Now he's trying to do some damage with the bat himself. Slider from Rodriguez, swung on and missed. Bulldogs are having a tough time with that movement of Rodriguez's pitch, but it is an adjustment that you'll need to learn how to make, and it is something the Bulldogs have been working on extensively since January, how to reduce the number of swings and misses, reduce the number of strikeouts. Gilbert goes to steal third base, and the catcher, Bodwin, has him. Nice job by Bodwin getting out of the crouch, throwing down to third, and Billy Chapman looking a little bit frustrated with Gilbert making the third out at third base. Of course, James does run well, but he runs well enough that if Sturgis singles anywhere, Gilbert's likely to score on that. But regardless, the Bulldogs wind up getting their fourth run in as many innings, and we are through 4. It is Bedford 4 and Memorial nothing.
BCTV and WBNH thank our underwriters. Primary Bank, New Hampshire's bank for business, with branches in Bedford, Manchester, Nashua, and Derry. PrimaryBankNH.com. Delta Dental, providing easy access to quality dental coverage for every smile, from your younger years to your golden years, with the nation's largest provider network. The Wicks Insurance Group, serving New Hampshire and the Bedford community with auto, home, life, and business insurance since 1984. TheWicksInsuranceGroup.com. Interim Healthcare of Manchester, personalizing healthcare to meet your unique health needs. InterimHealthcare.com. Nelson Real Estate of New Hampshire, your local brokerage boutique. Relationships built on trust. MrsNelsonsNeighborhood.com. Murphy's Tap Room and Carriage House Event Center, where meals turn into moments and conversations last a little longer. Murphy'sTapRoom.com.
Back here at Bedford High's baseball field, Lauren Fox, Harry Kozlowski, the Bulldogs on top 4-0 as we head to the top of the fifth inning. And a change on the mound. Carter Stewart on the bump for the Bulldogs, replacing James Gilbert, who moves out to right field. Any other defensive changes that we can see? I don't really see it. We still have an infield of Labonte at first, Bufter at second, Elaine over at third, and Topf is in left, and an outfield of, I think that's still Will Smith in the left, Connor Sturgis in center, and James Gilbert now around in right.
And Papik on the bench.
Papik is, I believe, done for the day. So for these Manchester Memorial Crusaders, it's Ryan Boylan leading off and hits it almost like he's just guiding it into left field. Fielded on one hop by the Bulldog left fielder.
Yeah, it's a little hard to judge from here. I thought it was heading foul, but I guess it must have landed fair, so the number 9 hitter, Sloper, gets on base.
And Papik is now in left. Gilbert is over in right. So Will Smith is the one who is done for the day. That ball hit on the ground to Topf at second. To Bufter, second for one. On to first, not in time. So reaching first on the fielder's choice is Frank Tessier. Tessier now at his first official plate appearance of the season. Hit by a pitch and walked his first 2 plate appearances. And Sloper, 1 for 1. He had walked his first time up. Stewart, off speed, outside corner, 0-1. Carter Stewart, one of the many Bulldog seniors. The junior class not quite as numerous as the runner goes. Throw from Duquette down to second base is in time. Beautiful throw down by Nate. Jason Topf on the cover, and Stewart gives up that base runner. Duquette erases him, and now there are 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning, and Poitras will face a 1-1 count. That pitch a ball. Stewart's off speed over the outside corner, and now 1-2 on Poitras. So Carter Stewart will fill it up. He is one who has gotten some time on the mound for the Bulldogs in a variety of capacities, whether at the varsity level, JV, freshman, but he is one who has been around for some time and does not throw quite as hard as James Gilbert, Zach Papik, or Jason Topf, but he is very effective and he will get outs. That one misses away, and the count runs full on Poitras. Bulldogs on top here, 4-0. 1 run in each of the first 4 innings. Payoff pitch upstairs, and Poitras will draw a walk. Will reach base for the first time today after grounding into a double play and striking out swinging back in the 3rd.
All 3 Crusader batters in this inning reaching base, all getting mowed down at second, though.
It's been an interesting inning for the Bulldogs. We'll just say that. The one that Tessier hit down to second, Jason Topf considered taking it himself to the bag. Instead, he fed Bufter, and it might have made a little bit more sense for Jason just to get to the bag, get the out, and make the throw himself with his momentum carrying him to first. Bufter made a nice job trying to make that turn.
Pat Roy at the plate now. Fouls off the first pitch. Down 0-1. Two outs. Crusaders trailing 4-0. Low ball, called the strike, though. 0-2.
At the knees. The ABS will tell you. I had somebody tell me a few years ago, right when the pitch count came into MLB, as that one swung on and missed for out number 3. So great job by Carter Stewart throwing that scoreless inning. He gives up a hit and a walk, and the Crusaders will leave 1. Bulldogs, after 4.5, lead it 4-0, and Harry will come back with a read.
And we'll get to your story in just a minute, but we want to thank our underwriters for making these broadcasts possible on BCTV, and they include Primary Bank, Northeast Delta Dental, the Wicks Insurance Group, Interim Healthcare of Manchester, Nelson Real Estate of New Hampshire, and Murphy's Tap Room and Carriage House Event Center. Thank you to our underwriting supporters to make these broadcasts possible. And now,
well, no, I committed the Cardinal broadcasting sin of starting a story with 2 outs. You know you're not supposed to do that. So I feel like I should be penalized somehow. But the long and the short of it is, it might have been 20, whatever year MLB brought the pitch clock in, I was still coaching here, and somebody came to me, but during a game and said, "Oh yeah, it's not going to be long. The pitch clock is coming to high school ball." And I said, "How do you figure?" "Oh, the technology is there." And I said, because for my side job, I get to sit up in the press box and watch the guys run on the pitch clock, and it is a coordinated effort between the umpires and the gentleman or lady running the pitch clock, and it's not an idle thing, not to mention the technology that's required for it, not to mention anything that accompanies it. Bill Jennings taking our picture. I don't know why he would want
we had
that.
a pause there.
I know. I had to give him the peace sign. I'm giving the peace sign in the annual plan. We're still on the air, Bill Jennings. So,
well,
but I had an opposing coach saying to me, "Oh yeah, it's going to be it'll be here soon. We'll have the pitch." I said, "We can't even find enough people to umpire these games, let alone find somebody to run the pitch clock during every high school game in the state. Come on, man."
I would have said, let me know when they have the 30-second clock in high school basketball.
Right.
In New Hampshire.
It takes some serious work to do that.
I'm not going to have it here.
We have people saying, "Oh yeah, ABS, no problem." Like, what planet are you living on? We can't even have a functional scoreboard. Why would we have ABS?
No penalty, though, for starting a story in the second, because as I was telling you between innings, I got to see Craig Ferguson over at the Capitol Center for the Arts on Sunday.
Which is a great facility, by the way.
Fantastic.
Was it sold out?
I don't believe it was sold out, but they had a pretty healthy crowd there.
Okay.
And, Craig killed, as he always does. He's just a master storyteller. And I think one of his signature moves is to start a story and then get distracted. And he'll do it like 2 or 3 times. get off the line, and then eventually get back to what he was going to tell you, and then get distracted again. So that's a very effective.
That's the story of my life.
Move in comedy. You start something and then get distracted into another story.
That's yeah. Well, I mean, how many years did I do that show with Andrew Hansen?
Oh yeah,
on WBNH.
Sports.
And that was hour-long episodes of that happening, of Hansen distracting me with something. Pitch taken for ball 1. We got a new wing out there for the Crusaders. It is Mason Poitras out there on the hill, so I'm sure we have some defensive changes. See if we can get those to you. I'm just guessing anyway. The outfield's going to be a bit of a tall order. And that pitch taken for a ball by Connor Sturgis. Alex Rodriguez goes to second base. And I think that's the only change. Actually, we may have somebody going to left field. I'm going to guess that it was Boylan, but maybe it's not. And while we're watching all that, I have no idea what the count is.
No, we're just trying to – you could hear the wind. We're just holding everything down here.
Trying not to lose our papers while we attempt to tell you who's on the field for Memorial. Sturgis fouls that one off.
Staying alive. We know he has at least 1 strike.
Yep. I think he has 2 now. But the interesting thing was the way that he started walking toward the dugout. My brain locked up, and I kind of thought he broke his bat, but they're using not wood bats, so unlikely. As Poitras gets Sturgis to swing and miss. Down he goes on strikes for the first out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Sturgis now 0 for 2, hit by a pitch and scored back in the third. And that'll bring up Jake Bufter, who has had a couple good at-bats. Almost reached back in the third inning on a throw from the first baseman, or from the third baseman Rivera that pulled, or Rodriguez that pulled Rivera off the bag. And Rivera applied the tag on Bufter going by.
Looks like the Bulldogs are working out somebody in the bullpen. Number 2.
Jason Topf. So we'll see if Jason gets an inning for the Bulldogs. They move him in from shortstop. Poitras fastball outside corner. Bufter had a difference of opinion. I think we have the at least the infield set for you for Memorial. Poitras's fastball misses high. Poitras on the mound. Bodwin behind the plate. Rivera at first. Alex Rodriguez at second. Anthony Rennell at third. And Pat Roy, the shortstop. And Bufter watches that one go by. And now I can tell you with certainty that he has 2 strikes on him.
And the sun is threatening to peek out from behind the clouds here.
I see blue sky in the distance. And Bufter hits that one off the end of the bat. Charging in, the left fielder can't make a play. And with a single, Bo Bufter, or Jake Bufter, I should say,
gets on base, and the Bulldogs have a base runner. They've had him every inning, earning a run in just about every, maybe not earned, but they got runs in every inning so far. So
ball hit on the ground, left side. Roy into the hole. Slides to a stop, throws on one hop over to first, but not in time to get Zach Papik. An infield single for Papik. Nice pickup by Roy. And that will give the Bulldogs runners on first and second with 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And that'll bring up the sophomore first baseman, Ben Labonte. We can now reset the outfield for you for Memorial, too. It's Chris Rodriguez in left, Frank Tessier in right, or in center, I should say, and Will Sloper around in right. Pitch from Poitras, a little bit inside. Labonte tripled his first time up. That was back in the second. Came around to score on a wild pitch and grounded a second in the third. Made very good contact on one. Stands in. Tall lefty batter. Bat tucked behind his left ear. This time a little bit late on it, down to the left field corner. And the sun once again back out for us.
Off foul again.
Labonte sends it off into the woods on the left side. That one recoverable. See if anybody from the Memorial side gives chase. Bufter slowly hits one to the second baseman, Rodriguez. Picks it up over to first in time to get him, but that basically works like a sac bunt. Labonte retired, and the Bulldogs will now have runners on second and third and 2 outs here at the bottom of the fifth. And things got awfully quiet.
And now it's time for Evan Bruno, the DH. Struck out, grounded out. 1-3, has yet to get on base.
Bruno, an RBI man. He is in the lineup because of his ability to drive in runs. And we will see if he can live up to that billing here. The Bulldogs have 4. They've scored 1 in each of the first 4. Looking to break that pattern, I guess, without a goose egg. Maybe put up a crooked number. Bruno, big swing. Catches air. And now he's in a bit of a hole. Poitras kicks and deals. Bruno takes a strike on the outside corner. See, I thought he had 2 strikes on him. Not the case. Now he does. So now he's going to have to protect here, find a way to get himself on base. Looking for his first hit of the day. Poitras working out of the wind. In the dirt, hit the front of home plate, and that's like no man's land on this field. In to score is Bufter, rounding third with a notion of scoring. Papik, he will hang on at third base, but that is every catcher's worst nightmare. That ball just short that hits the front of home plate and goes over your head. You're going down to block the ball, and it goes over you. There's really nothing you can do there.
And the Bulldogs get their 5th in 5, and this is popped up.
Shallow left, and coming in a few steps, finally settling underneath it, is the left fielder Rodriguez. He will make the catch for the 3rd out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Bulldogs continue the pattern. No crooked numbers yet, only ones. The 5th run in as many innings. We're through 5. It's the Bulldogs 5 and the Crusaders nothing. Welcome back. Top of the 6th inning here at Bedford High Baseball Field. Lauren Fox, Harry Kozlowski. Bulldogs leading it 5-0. Carter Stewart on for his 2nd inning of work. We did see Jason Topf down in the bullpen, but they have not called on him yet. My bet would be that we'll see Stewart get out of this inning, hopefully. If all goes to plan for Billy Chapman, you'll see somebody hit in his spot, which is the leadoff spot in the bottom of the 6th inning. As that one is rolled on the left side, Topf charges in. Nice play on the run over to first in time. But I want to give credit where credit is due. The first baseman, Ben Labonte, picking that one out of the dirt. Nice play by Jason on the run. But if you don't have Labonte there to vacuum that thing up, you might be in a little bit of trouble.
Absolutely. Rodriguez out 6-3. One down for the Crusaders with Ronnie Rivera coming up. He struck out.
Nice pitch by Stewart, down and away. Didn't get the strike call, but you'll take it.
And he grounded out 4-3 in the 4th inning. I had a little trouble reading my own handwriting.
That one rolled left side, a lane to his backhand side, but it is foul. And Rivera will mosey on back to home plate. You see on the right side of the infield, Labonte and Bufter both wearing sunglasses. The sun is out. And even though when Top's coming in and making that throw, it's not necessarily going to come into the sun. You don't want to be distracted if you can avoid it. And sure enough.
Even though it was a cloudy day today, I thought about wearing my hat, which I am wearing, my Lumen Macro Data Refinement hat.
I haven't gotten deep enough into that show yet. I haven't resubscribed to Apple TV.
The work is mysterious but important.
Every time I get a 6-digit passcode to log into something, I think about the scary numbers. And that one taken for strike 3, called by Rivera for out number 2 here in the top of the 6th inning. The Bulldogs lead at 5-0. They've scored 1 in each of the first 5 innings. And along the way, they've also left 6 on base.
7 Ks so far for the Bulldogs. 5 for Gilbert, 2 for Stewart. And that one's foul. Strike 1. 2. I'm trying to see if there's a change. If there's a, number 14 at bat here.
Anthony Rennell. So we have Rennell, who's hitting in Boylan's spot. And he's now playing third base. So 2 down, the base is empty for the Crusaders. Still trying to find their first run of the season. Pitch misses down and away from Stewart. Making Duquette do a little bit of work over there. It is an interesting setup here at BHS. You have bleachers that are down the right field line, but you're also right in prime foul ball territory if you're there, so people tend not to be there quite as often. And everybody will sort of disperse all the way down the line.
That one fouled back by Rennell. 2 strikes on him.
You get later in the season, senior night, you get playoffs, and people are just packed in all the way down the line. Rennell pops it up, left side, going back and then coming in is the shortstop, Jason Topf, and he will make the play for the 3rd out here in the top of the 6th. The Bulldogs, for only the 2nd time today, set down the Crusaders in order. We're through 5.5. Bedford 5 and Memorial nothing.
Your next BCTV baseball broadcast coming up on Monday, April 27th at 4:30 against the Concord Crimson Tide. Our next sports broadcast coming up Friday as girls lacrosse, their home opener is Friday against the Londonderry Lancers. That's going to be a 5:30 face-off on Friday, April 17th. And looking ahead to next week, we've got softball on Tuesday the 21st as softball team who opened their season today with a victory. JV team as well. They'll be hosting the Alvern Broncos at 4 o'clock at Slavosky Field. So that's what's coming up on BCTV. Hope you tune in.
Who is on the mic for that softball game there, Harry?
Andrew Fenn would know that. Might be me. We don't know. Tune in and find out.
We're on camera right now, and here I am checking my phone as I communicate with other human beings. There's never any warning for that.
We just spin the wheel of announcers, see who comes up.
Yeah, I've watched a decent amount of softball this year, I'll say that much. So
I enjoy doing the games from Slavosky. It's a good field, very intimate setting, if you will.
It is very intimate setting. Where do you guys set up the broadcast from?
Just like here, we are on the first base line.
Okay.
Just past the...
Past the dugout?
Past the dugouts.
Poison Ivy?
Not that far.
So, as I suspected, we have a batter for Carter Stewart. That will be Cam Dubois. No relation to Henry Dubois. So, Carter Stewart, 2 innings of work. And does not wind up getting an at-bat, but 2 very good innings for him on the mound. Now the junior Cam Dubois will step into bat, facing Mason Poitras.
This is the number 9 batter for Bedford, correct?
Yes, and he's also wearing 9. Fastball up, 1-0 on Dubois. Dubois will see some time on the mound for the Bulldogs. See some time in the outfield as well as he takes a big hack. Comes up empty, 1-1. Nine 1-2 coming for the Bulldogs. Poitras down low. This mound here at Bedford High is high. So if you have not thrown before at this field, it can be a bit of a challenge. That one into the hole. Roy dives, or slides, I should say, and throws on one hop over to Rivera at first, who holds up his end of the bargain. Makes a great pick, and Dubois retired 6-3 for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Jason Top is up, top of the order. He's had a double, base on balls, a triple. Needs a home run and a single for the cycle.
For your sake and mine, I hope we don't get to that point where we're either batting through the lineup or, well, actually, if the Bulldogs score 4, I think it would be mathematically impossible that he would get there. And as we heard Billy Chapman yell between innings, this thing's not over yet, as in keep focusing. So Billy hoping that it's just going to end things in the 7th, as that one on one hop to the right fielder Sloper, who gets it back in quickly. So Jason Top 3 for 3 now in today's game. The only part of the cycle that he would still need is the home run. A lot of people will say the triple's the hardest part of the cycle, but in this ballpark, with the wind blowing as it's blowing, I think the home run is the toughest one to come up with. James Gilbert at bat for the Bulldogs. He has reached base all 3 times. The last time, kind of an unorthodox strikeout, wild pitch. and got to first base, stole second, and then tried to steal third. It was thrown out to end the fourth. Top of a somewhat conservative lead. He goes. That ball hit on a line right between first and second. Top will go all the way to third. Sloper's throw does not hit the cut, and now Gilbert will head into second base after that throw. And Rivera looks back at his right fielder as if to say, buddy, you got to hit the cutoff there. We got to keep the man at first base. And a perfectly executed hit and run for the Bulldogs. As a baseball fan, that's the kind of stuff I really like to see. And
so the teaching moment for Preventure, Coach Preventure at the mound here, like you said, failed to get the cutoff man.
The guy that you need to talk to about that's out in right field, though, unfortunately, you can't teach him as the game's going on. But what he's trying to do right now is play a little bit of psychiatrist, get his guys on board with what's going on, make sure they stay focused. They are trailing 5-0, but let your pitcher Poitras know that you still got his back. Let your catcher Bodwin know that you appreciate the hard work he's doing. And tell your infielders you just want to get the outs. You don't want to give up a 5 spot here and get run ruled. You want to find a way to keep the focus and get the outs. So it's Nate Duquette coming to bat for the Bulldogs. Nate singled, advanced on an error back in the first. 1 for 3 on the day.
Yeah, he flied out in the second to center field, struck out in the fourth.
Poitras kicks and deals. Duquette had a green light in his mind. The pitch not in the zone and swung on and missed. The count 0-1 on Nate. Nate made a very nice play to notch a caught stealing back in the fifth as well behind the plate. That one in the dirt. Nice job by the catcher Bodwin to knock the ball down, but he lost track of it, and it was just outside of the dirt cutout to his left. It's a horrifying feeling when you're a catcher and you have no idea where the ball is.
Yeah, Top thought about coming in. He might have made it. There was enough confusion there between the pitcher and between the pitcher Poitras and the catcher.
I think when you're up 5-0, though, you realize as Duquette swings and misses, you realize it's a long season. And I would say it's a very safe bet that Billy Chapman said, do not go. You don't want to injure your shortstop, one of your captains, on a play in a game that's pretty much well in hand at this point. Duquette gets a base hit, sac fly, sure enough, you send him. But that one, a little tapper, and flipped to home, and Top is out. That one, 1-2 on the putout, and I don't know that Jason didn't think that he was out and asked our home plate umpire, Greg Surrett, to have a conversation with the base umpire, but I don't think that conversation is going to happen. The man who's on top of the play is the one who's got the best shot to make that call there. So Duquette reaches by way of a fielder's choice. Gilbert's still around at third. And that, the second out here in the bottom of the sixth inning in a game the Bulldogs lead 5-0.
They need to get a run here to keep their set here.
So now Brendan Lung will step in to pinch hit for the Bulldogs. Lung Jr. hitting for the center fielder Connor Sturgis. We'll see if the Bulldogs will re-enter Sturgis or if they send somebody out to center field for the top of the seventh. Lung hits that one high in the air to left. A long way to go for the left fielder Rodriguez, and looked like it was in foul territory. He makes the catch. Nope, our home plate umpire Greg Surrett says it was in fair territory. Lung gave it a ride, but with 2 outs, that's not going to do a whole lot. The Bulldogs wind up stranding 2. We are through 6. It's Bedford 5 and Memorial 0. Back here for the top of the 7th at Bedford High Baseball Field. Lauren Fox, Harry Kozlowski. Bulldogs leading at 5-0, and we have some defensive changes for Bedford. It is pretty wholesale changes around the diamond. Jason Topf on the mound. Nate Duquette over there at second, or at catching, I should say. The infield changes a little bit. Cam Dubois at third. David Elaine at second. And our second baseman and first baseman will stay the same. Jake Bufter and Ben Labonte. And the outfield the same with the exception of Brendan Lung in center field, spelling Connor Sturgis. The hope, though, for Jason Topf is that he can just slice through this Memorial lineup, and he will find himself encountering 7, 8, 9, Rodriguez, Bodwin, and Sloper. Of course, assuming there are not any pinch hitters. And indeed it is Chris Rodriguez to lead things off. First pitch from Topf, the strike. That one hit on the ground, a roller to Bufter, goes to his left, on to first in time, out number 1 here on the top of the 7th. So 2 pitches, 1 out. Now that'll bring up the catcher, the hardest working man on the field today, Aaron Bodwin. He has dealt with a lot of pitches in the dirt, and it is a thankless job. Bodwin. Go ahead.
I was going to say he struck out in the second and flied out the center in the 4th. Took a strike there.
Watches the fastball over the outside corner. 0-1. Fastball, strike 2. And Bodwin finds himself in a hole here, 0-2. James Gilbert threw the first 4 for the Bedford. For the Bulldogs, I should say, allowed 3 hits, no runs. Carter Stewart allowed 1 hit in his 2 innings of work.
That was outside 1 and 2.
And now Jason Topf in to finish the job. It is not a save situation for Bedford. The 1-2 fouled off by Bodwin. Now this is a situation where you don't necessarily want to speed up his bat by throwing him anything that's not a fastball, but you also don't want to labor too long throwing fastballs. That an off speed. Rolled past the third baseman Dubois, winds up through his legs, and safe at first on the air by the third baseman Dubois is the number 8 batter for Memorial, Bodwin. So Topf has now thrown 7 pitches. He should have 2 outs. He's now going to face Will Sloper. Fouls it back to the screen.
While I've got a moment, let's thank our underwriters one more time for making these broadcasts possible on BCTV. They include Primary Bank, Northeast Delta Dental.
Sloper's foul ball back into the trees. That ball is gone forever.
The Wicks Insurance Group, Interim Healthcare of Manchester, Nelson Real Estate, New Hampshire, and Murphy's Tap Room and Carriage House Event Center. Thank you very much for your support.
Roller, right side. Labonte winds up throwing it into left field. So that one, a ball that Labonte had made a play on, looked for his classmate David Elaine at second base, and instead sends it into center. So the Bulldogs, 2 errors in as many plays. That one, if you're really scoring at home on a game that's recorded, I feel sorry for you, but fielder's choice and E3 is what gets Bodwin to second. And a pinch runner coming in for Bodwin. The man deserves a break. So, yeah, that's all in fairness. You got to do that for him. It's going to be Camden Wheeler, sophomore utility man. So Jason Topf, by all rights, should be out of the inning, having thrown only 10 pitches. Instead, he's got runners on first and second, and just 1 out.
And he's facing the top of the order in Frank Tessier.
Tessier, little Texas leaguer. Bufter goes out, makes a play in shallow center field. Got a great read on that ball and a great break, and the sure-handed Bufter handles it for the second out here in the top of the 7th. So that'll bring on Mason Poitras. Poitras, through the last several innings for Memorial, he's 0 for 2 with a walk. Grounded into a double play back in the first, struck out in the third, and walked in the 5th. Now he comes up with runners at first and second. 2 outs trying to help his team overcome a 5-0 deficit. This one hit on the ground sharply into left field. Papik up with it, and Nick Preventure does the right thing there. Holds his runner, Wheeler, coming around third. By the time Papik got to it, he was playing deep short, and it would have been a relatively easy throw home, not to mention the fact Wheeler's run doesn't matter yet. So this inning extended by a couple errors, and now the bases are loaded, and the tying run, believe it or not, is in the on-deck circle. Fastball from top, outside corner, 0-1. Pat Roy at bat for the Crusaders. He's 1 for 2 on the day, walked, singled, struck out. The 0-1, fastball taken for strike 2, and we'll see if Top messes with anything other than the fastball here, if he just goes right after him, strength on strength. The 0-2, down low, Nate Duquette trying to bring it up, doing a nice job of framing, but that low strike has been hard to come by all day. One-two, upstairs. High. Gets away from Duquette. Top covers quickly, and now Memorial in a bit of a pickle.
I think they got him at second.
Winds up throwing back to second base to Bufter, and Bufter makes the tag on Sloper, who has a little bit of extracurriculars to go along with it, and winds up elbowing Jake Bufter. But regardless, the Bulldogs wind up winning in very unorthodox fashion.
Very much so.
A ball that wound up getting away from Duquette. He threw to top covering. The runner from third, Wheeler, stopped, and rightfully so, and Sloper wasn't paying attention to what was going on and got picked off at second base. So with that, the Bulldogs wind up winning this one 5-0, winning their season opener. And I guess, Harry, any thoughts before we close up the broadcast?
Not really. It was a good... Yeah, it was
He's
kind
not the best color man in the business for nothing.
No,
folks.
no. I mean, it was a workmanlike performance here. They didn't do anything flashy. They picked up a run in every inning. They took advantage, and that was a really heady play there by Top, who could have just given up on the play when he covered home plate, but he saw the runner that was making its way back to second, made the throw, and ended the game on a heady defensive play.
Well, and ordinarily, too, you just eat that and realize, all right, maybe I'll go after him. I'll end the game on the guy who's at bat, because you don't want to concern yourself there, because anything that gets away, the run scores, the inning continues. But in this case, he realized he had a sure-handed second baseman out there. We had talked about that in relation to Bo Bufter previously. So he knew he was comfortable making that throw and getting that out. So with that said, of course, Memorial has a little bit of work to do. They have some teaching moments. Of course, new coach Nick Preventure has some things that they can work on, and certainly he has the players out there. The Crusaders are going to win some games this year.
And meanwhile, Coach Chapman begins his 15th season leading this team with a victory. So a great start for the Bulldogs. They are 1-0.
As he said earlier today, it's the season opener. A lot of stuff can happen, but this one, a relatively harmless opener. So our thanks to the BCTV crew, Bill Jennings, Andrew Fenn, and, of course, Harry Kozlowski. I'm Lauren Fox. Once again, your final, Bedford 5 and Memorial nothing. You've been watching Bedford High School Baseball on BCTV.